All right, please state your name and state your question.
Barbara Watering. I would like to know about job creations. It appears to me that the jobs do not get filled with local people that need work. They are filled with union people that come from God knows where. And I would like to know what your views are on that.
Okay, we'll start with Cindy Hall on that one. To repeat the question, she wanted to know what the panel's views are on local workers not being chosen for jobs, but instead unionized workers being brought in from other areas to fill jobs in this area.
That's a tough one. I don't know how you fix that except you get rid of the unions, I suppose. Hope there are no union workers here. It's not the union workers, actually, it's the union leadership that's the problem. This is one of my favorite subjects, actually, because I am involved in starting and creating jobs, hopefully in West Virginia via downtown business associations, which I've just started in Wheeling. This is about the 5th month that is in existence. And we are in the process of making the old buildings downtown habitable for office space and for storefront space. Wheeling is almost a ghost town. And so we have done research in regards to smart codes, which has been used in other communities across the nation. And this would allow us, and particularly in Wheeling and West Virginia cities, to upgrade and to revitalize their downtowns. We can't now because the codes are too restrictive. Now, of course, allowing space for businesses to move into, and which would create jobs, and it's starting in the hometown where jobs should be starting, not with the federal government. So that's actually one of my primary concentrations on. I have some projects for West Virginia in my campaign, and that is one of them. But we need to lift restrictions which limit job hiring and employment costs. We need to reduce workmen's compensation costs, and West Virginia is better at that. They used to be the worst. They're much better. We need to encourage business development by tax credits. We need to create more manufacturing jobs in the United States. Everything is being sent overseas. We need to reduce corporate taxes, limit outsourcing, and of course the reason for outsourcing is cost savings. We need to give the corporations tax benefits that will keep the manufacturing operations within this country. And talent pools. The two most populous countries in the world, China and India, provide huge pools from which they find talent. And we need to encourage our students to become engineers and technical people instead of us having to either outsource our jobs and bring those back into this country. Thank you.
Trish Levinson.
Joining a union or not joining a union is a personal choice, and that never should be removed. This is a local and state issue, and I don't believe federal government should determine what happens in this state.
David McKinley.
Yeah, I think that was more the way the question was. Yeah, I'm in opposite over union versus non-union. It is a local issue. It's not something for the federal government to involve. It relates to unionization. The card check law, the card check proposal has to be defeated. We don't need to have that kind of interference in the process between management and labor, how they work out their relationships with that. the local legislature can deal with things of prevailing wage rates that might help out in some employment versus people, so they don't have to be necessarily a member of the union, but yet they can get increased salaries with that as they can do that. But this is really a local issue, but what we have to do is make sure the card check does not go through. Thank you.
Sarah Manier.
A lot of federal projects and some state projects almost force you to hire union workers. It's in the contract, and of course our prevailing wage rate is higher than the federal mandate. The only way you're going to solve this problem, really, to make it a level playing field for everyone, is to become a right-to-work state. That's the only way you can do it. And with the current makeup of the state legislature, both the House and the Senate, it's not going to happen. I'd like to tell you it would. But with the makeup of the way it is, the majority leader in the House is a union boss. And the majority leader of the House is the one that introduced card check in 2007 in the state legislature. So some of the problems can be fixed right here at home if you just vote these people out. I mean, that's the only, if you're in a hole and you keep digging, you're going to stay in the hole. And the only way you can change it is to vote differently. And I think the people are waking up. And I think we're going to see some tremendous changes on the local, the state, and the federal level in 2010 and 2012. And if we don't, we're all going to be in trouble. Thank you.
Tom Stark.
With regard to the situation the way it is now, it is far more than a state problem because the federal government has gotten their fingers into things that they don't belong in. The Department of Labor has become a protection mechanism for the unions and for union management. One of the first things that Barack Obama did when he was elected, in his first budget, he cut enforcement of regulations regarding the way unions are managed severely. I mean, he really cut it to the bone in order to protect his union friends. The best way to eliminate that is, as I said earlier, with regard to the budget and getting rid of the national debt, one of the large consumers of money is the Department of Labor. And if these issues are state issues, the state has a Department of Labor. There is no need for one at the federal level. You can argue that that takes us back and does all kinds of terrible things, but the fact is each state has different economic circumstances. Each state should determine how the field is kept level with regard to labor in their state. The card check bill definitely needs to be killed for a couple of reasons. Number one, it prevents having a private election or a private vote on the issue without intimidation, but it also forces the business to abide by the decision of an arbitrator that's a government bureaucrat. If they don't come to some quick decision within 4 months, then they have to take binding arbitration, which is basically, again, the government stepping in and taking control of private business. So that needs to be eliminated. The prevailing wage rate, the formula that's used, is totally out of whack, which creates a situation where in our state the prevailing wage is about double what the average wage is for non-union workers. It is all designed to pad the payroll for the unions. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with joining a union. If you want to join a union, if it's justified, I know places I could name right now that there's every justification for unionizing the workforce because they're abused. But there is a limit to where that protection should come. And the playing field should be leveled, but it should not be tilted in favor of labor or management.